This is where the fun begins.
Are you sure? So be it. Did you miss me? Our time has come. For 300 years, we prepared. We grew stronger. While you rested in your cradle of power, believing your people was safe and protected. You were trusted to lead the Republic, but you were deceived. As our powers of the dark side have blinded you. You assumed no force could challenge you. And now, finally, we have returned. You were deceived. And now your Republic shall fall.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel, OG Star Wars. This is your host, Alora Baga. Let me turn on the cam. I'm slightly decent today. Why not? Have a little bit of makeup, and hair a little bit fixed. So, how are you guys doing this morning? I am so happy to be back with you. Last week was such a crazy week. I was on the road for training. Here I am now. So, I am glad to be back with you guys. So, continuing the Sith lore here. However, if you are tuning in right now with us, please smash that like button, and also share the stream out. Let everybody know that we are live. We are back. We are back with the Sith lore today. And if you're catching the replay, thank you so much for coming in and making time for the channel and checking out what we have to offer today. And I am so happy to be back with you guys as well, like I said. And, decided to play the old Republic video, one of them, cinematic videos, because I wanted to share in celebration and in light of the Acolyte not being continued, that this is the true Sith lore right here, right? This is the true lore of the Sith that was guided by and approved by George Lucas and his company. And it's a beautiful thing. And so I thought, why not give my viewers who come in here every morning, not every morning, but every Caf Chat morning to sit and talk with me about Star Wars, why not give them, some old Republic, since we're talking about the Sith, right? Since we are talking about the Sith. So here we are. So I'm glad that I was able to do that. I was like, surprise. Today's topics are going to be not only continuation of the Sith lore, our history, we are going into the alchemy of the Sith. I'm going to talk about the alchemy, and then next week we're going to get into the because I'm going through here. So we're going through the Sith, the book of the Sith, and I'm going to not do the war beasts just yet, because I feel like their war beasts basically were created through Sith alchemy. So I wanted to go through Sith alchemy first and then go back and talk about the war beasts. So let's see who is in the chat. And of course, thank you so much for Star Wars Marvel Pierce for coming in and reminding everybody to force choke that like button. And the other topic is going to be, we're going to discuss a little bit about the cancellation. This is the latest Star Wars news that I figured let's just chat about a little bit. And so we're going to talk about that. But we're also going to get into the book of the week and Cringe Factor. So everything's tying in. It's like a very Sith oriented stream today. Nothing that's going to be stirred to, the Republic or the Jedi or what have you. So let's see here. And then we have CJH in the house. I have a hot take that no longer is going to be, or to like, or I have a hot take that no long is going to like, or no one or no long is going to like, but I'm going to say it anyways. So far with the few movies 20th Century Studios, Disney-owned version of Fox, it seems they've treated them with respect. And then he goes on to say, because you can only do so many characters. So my take is, what if they just move Lucas to Star Wars over to the 20th Century Fox Studios, where they take it from there? Well, because Lucasfilm is their own studio. Century Fox is their own studio. So they're separate entities, I guess you could say. But I mean, I get what you're saying. Let's see here. And I don't know why it says that my internet is kind of like, let me see, unstable or whatever. So I don't know what's going on here. So hopefully I don't have any problems. Prey, Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, Alien, Romulus, and Avatar, Deadpool, Wolverine all feel like they the respect that came from. Well, there's some things that people may, like you said, people may agree or disagree with you, and that's fine. Thanks for that. Putting some thought and stuff into that. But like I said, Fox is their own studios, just like Lucasfilm is. Usually I have a joker ready, but not at the moment, still dealing with the sudden death of the Acolyte. Oh, you're in mourning, huh? And people may hate the opinion because it's one Disney. It's still Disney. And a lot of people have a hate boner for Disney. Well, first of all, and Disney is not the only corporate company that is destroying, I guess you could say, pop culture with the movies and stuff like that. So, but it is the one that is being focused on for whatever reason. So if one company, one franchise does something similar to Disney, it doesn't get highlighted like Disney does. So I don't know why. It needs to be pointed out across the board, not just with Disney. Let's see here. Smash that like button. Yes, smash it. Smash the like button. And then, yes, I have an article that I'm going to share. And I might just share bits and pieces of the article because I was reading through it. But basically, Empire Magazine is sticking up for the Acolyte, saying there should be a second season, but we'll see what happens with that. And this is what Soul Assassin has to say. We need a second season to explain why Plagueis was creeping in the cave and who was that Yoda-like character at the end of the show. It's Grogu's dad. And as always, what's in your mug? So yeah, Caf Chat is about sitting down with your favorite beverage. I say caf or coffee because it is morning time where I'm at. So coffee and chat about Star Wars with you guys. So what's in your mug? What beverage are you sipping on as we are sitting together here in Caf Chat? All right, I'm in mourning. The Acolyte is no more. Sigh. I'm going to miss the goofy ass show. I hope that's a big, huge joke because if not, then I'm going to worry about you. Darth is here. Darth Paws. Darth Paws. My Darth Paws named Toby. Darth Toby is somewhere around here in the house. Darth Plagueis will take Osha as his new apprentice. All right, so let's spin on that a little bit here. I'm not used to having my hair down, but that was very random. Sorry. They are forgetting, probably because they're new to Star Wars. They're not used to the brand, the property. They are forgetting that Star Wars is, well, under George, and you could say Disney, is a multimedia franchise. So what does that mean? That means if there's a show later on, novels can expand on what happened with the show, like the movies, like with the OT, the PT. You have the movie novels for them, and then you had novels that were prequels and sequels to the movie. And then, of course, then you have like their Disney trilogy for Disney Star Wars. And they have their movie novels, which they expanded on a lot of things. Are they retconned? Are they try to correct mistakes that the movies made? And, but so they forget. And then you have, if they do the games the same, they have the game canon where the story is basically the continuity canon. And then usually a book is written to validify that. And then you have the gameplay, which is not canon. Especially some, odd things that you can recreate for yourself or take the story in a different direction. And then you have the comics as well. So it's a multimedia project. So these people here that are crying around like it's the end of the world because Acolyte did not get a cleared for a second season, which Headland said that there was never going to be one. I remember reading the interviews, like there's only one season, and the Darth Gimp face, it's not Plagueis I'm talking about, but the one in the mask, that he was supposed to show up later towards the end because she was hoping she would get greenlit for a second season, but she didn't. She knew they weren't. So they put Darth Gimp face. They went ahead and put him in there earlier within the first season or within that, earlier in the storyline. So I need to find that article, but she already knew ahead of time that there wasn't going to be a second season. And I want to find it so I could share on Twitter because you know what, you guys, I've been having fun rubbing salt into these wounds of these people who have attacked myself, have attacked you guys about the EU, especially about the EU being tossed aside, discontinued, and stories like, and I'll use Sword of the Jedi because that was one of the most anticipated stories to be to come out, to have, you know, said to be coming out before the buyout. And they went ahead and threw salt in the wounds, talk shit about the EU, all of this, and they continue to do it here today. So I have no remorse. I have no compassion for them whatsoever. I don't care. I could be taking the high road or high ground, but I'm not. I like in the beginning, I was like, I wouldn't want what happened to me, you know, anticipating continued EU and stuff like that, and it being tossed and canceled. I wouldn't want that to happen to them like it happened to me. Now I don't give a shit. So that's my thing. That's my take. Sounds harsh. I don't care. I don't care. Hello, Star Wars Grand. How are you doing? And Tom Doyle in the house. We won, Alora. It's just a small step. It's not a big win whatsoever, but it is a small step. So yeah, you want to hit the like button with the hand wave. So yeah, the Jedi mind trick. Yep. And then let's see here. All right. We are going to do the Sith lore first, and we're going to get into all the other stuff here. So we'll get into that. I just want to go through the chat and chat with you guys a little bit and get through this, and then we'll get into that. So what are the chances they make those Sith helmets? Can we send one to OG with a Grogu? No. No. Nope. 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 All right. Yes, we love you, but also, yeah, that shout out to Scran. All right. Apparently those helmets sold out. I doubt it would, though, since all Acolyte merch has been ripped off of Disney sites. Yep, that's what's being said and shown on social media, that the merch for those, just for the site, has been taken down. But I had someone point out to me that like Hasbro has not discontinued any of the merch, but I think because they already have licensed merch sold out as wholesale to be sold in stores like Target and stuff like that. So you still may see them on the shelves in like stores like Target, Walmart, and all that. And Anakin Batsy, what's up? How are you doing? And let's see here. And another channel member. Hello, how are you doing, Miss Melissa Lord? I'm happy you're here. And Gordon as well. Howdy, Laura and chat. And let's see here. I'm going to scroll down. I know you guys are all saying hello to each other, and I love that. That's what this community is about. And I'm going to share this again. Holy crap, OG is playing Old Republic vid. What did I do so right for this? You're like, yeah, Laura's vibing with that vid of the Old Republic. Ever notice how those temple guards look like rebel troopers? So that's Gordon McDaniel. And then we have Rodimus Prime. How are you doing? And of course, hello, Matt G, another channel member. Sharing the emojis. If you become a channel member, you get the emojis. I still got to update them. I keep saying that. I need to just get in there and do that sometime today. Diddley Squat is in the house. How are you doing? And then how many times has the temple been sacked? 2, right? Anakin and the 501st, then Malgus and the Sith warriors. I think that's about right. 2 times. 2 times. Man, Malgus and the Sith warriors. Holy crap. All right, let's see here. And Star Wars Grand says, is this Acolyte season 2? You know better than that. You know better than that, Mr. Sassy. And Mrs. Sassy is right here. I didn't plan that whatsoever. Howdy, y'all. We'll be trying to listen and work. Thank you so much. Listen while you work. Sorry, that just came out like that. I am not going to talk about the Snow White bullcrap. I don't care. It's just a myth, the cartoon thingy, And there's not really a huge like franchise behind that, other than that Disney has made it a part of the property a long time ago. So I can care less. I can care less because this day and age, you know, it's, you have to pick your battles, right? You have to pick your battles. Mine is here for Star Wars. So here we go. Always on the move. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, always on the move. And yes, follow me on Twitter. I'm not sharing it, but it is above on the chat where I'm clicking at. OG, are you going to make a video defending the EU and explaining why it was always canon like Matt Wilkins did? I was thinking about that. I think Tim did one too. I believe so. He did one. But yes, I want to. In fact, let's take a break and I'm going to go ahead and play that video right now because I still have it on here. Where did it go? I feel like it's probably towards the bottom. Dark Side, Lando for Force is Strong, What Kept You, Victor Prime, Like Father Before Me, Rebel Scum, Dave Filoni, Cringe Factor, George, video outro, intro. I thought I had it on here still. Oh, here we go. It's at the top. Here we go.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the expanded universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The expanded universe respects the reader. In the expanded universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy, just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the expanded universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the expanded universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story and continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the expanded universe.
Hell yeah. So respect going to Matt Wilkins. So if you have not yet subscribed to his channel and support, he not only has Star Wars content, he's a game board gamer. So he has that, and he's been pushing out his 50 top best games and stuff like that, and talking about his board games and stuff like that. Very cool. Excuse me. And he also has different little shows and episodes on his channel, as well as he's doing a rewatch for TCW. So go give that guy some love and some compassion for getting through TCW. I've been slowly watching. I've been liking. Sometimes I've been commenting. Sometimes I don't. But yeah, so he's rewatching through TCW. Yeah, so give him some love. And I seen Anakin Batsy saying that he has a Talon Card action figure that was sent to him. Pretty cool. And let's see here. And check out my merch. I hardly advertise this stuff, but it's there. So if you want to support the channel that way, you like my art and you like what I'm doing with the merch, go check it out and make it a part of your decor, or, like get yourself a mug or something like that. And sorry, we went down a rabbit hole. So I kind of skipped over some talk in here, and that's all good because we have a lot going on our plate today, and I still want to get through some of these and say hello and what have you and address some stuff because that's what Caf Chat's about. And so Sassy says, I will be making a celebration video for the funeral of the Acolyte. Probably I'm going to read and laugh at the shill's fits over losing the ship of Osha and Kira. Yeah. So we are going to go over some of the Acolyte tweets as well here today, because I just want to share like it. Okay. So us so-called EU elitist or hardcore Star Wars fans, or whatever you want to label us as, like in general, to our dedication to Star Wars per George Lucas era, we never went and was crying around like, oh my God, I can't believe it. They don't like us. They canceled the EU, and all this other stuff. I don't know. That's just my rendition of a Disney shill crying about the Acolyte. But we never really went about it that way. We discussed it. We gave logical talk and explanation conversations about it. Yes, we felt betrayed, but we kind of knew, a lot of us. I mean, it's not surprising. It wasn't surprising, but we knew that eventually probably would have happened because look who they brought in for the Disney trilogy. JJ. He is known to not wanting to keep continuity with what came before. So he wanted the so-called creative freedom to do what he wants. And boy, did he do what he wanted, but also made a soft reboot of A New Hope. So there you go. So here we go. Let me see here. I've only missed about 10 minutes. Laugh out loud. Well, welcome back. I know that you already said this a little while ago. He needed to go refill his calf. I know I need to refill mine pretty soon. Dang. So yes, some more emojis coming out. Okay. So I know you guys are chatting away in here, and there's a lot of things I wanted to see what you guys are talking about. And I know it's a lot about the Acolyte cancellation and your guys' opinion about it and all that. But let's get into the real lore here. Let's get into the Sith lore. The Sith lore. So let's see here. All right, let me put it on the screen. Let me take myself out of the screen because I want it full screen here. And I'll take this little brand chickie out of here. Where is it? Oh, there we go. All right. So we're going to get into the alchemy. Yes, I am using, and if you have source books, because Disney never learned to do this, but if you have source books that help you on your own channel with providing lore, talking about the lore, all of that, use them. Don't do what Disney has done with Star Wars and say there's no source materials and then go ahead and just, destroy Star Wars with their version of it, I guess you can say. So we're going to get into the Sith history here, and it's Sith alchemy. I am skipping over the war beasts because I know they were created through Sith alchemy. So I wanted to get into the Sith alchemy, and then we'll go back to the war beasts, and then we could talk about those. And they're very interesting. And we could talk about even the Jedi visiting Korriban, like when Luke took his strike team over there in Fate of the Jedi, and what war beasts, what beasts they came upon and stuff like that. So we can get into all that type of talk, and you guys can even, look into them and find out which one, if you don't have your favorite war beast yet, Sith beast, I guess you could say, you can look it up between now and then and come back and say why and share and stuff like that. So a little bit of homework on your end too is research them if you don't know much about them, and come back and let me know which one's your favorite. That's your homework. That is your homework because you know I like to assign homework, right? All right. Soul Assassin says, question. What essential books have the Sith purebloods lore? I have the species one and nothing about them. You know what? I have to look into that because I think I think the one of the newest ones might have it. So I'll answer that question on Twitter in our community forum there. So very good question because I know as Star Wars started expanding out with their lore and their history and stuff, the Old Republic and pre-Old Republic, came out a little bit later in the timeline or the development of the lore. And so you have some things, some species, some, information that has not been shared yet. And then the buyout happened. So I will find that out. Someone could tell me in the chat or us in the chat and then do so. Let's see here. I am sad I do not have my essentials book. I loaned them to a former friend and never got them back. Yes, that's so sad. I'd be like, I want my book back, please. Yeah, I want my book back, please. So let's see here. And some of those war beasts ended up on Yavin 4. Jason had a pet battle Hydra for if I'm correct. We'll go over that. Like there's a lot of lore behind that, because we did know that the Masasis were taken to Yavin 4. So there we go. So that only makes sense for that, right? That only makes sense for that. So get your books at the thrift. And someone said that they got a book and it was not of quality and stuff like that. So from Thrift Book, I forgot who told me that they got the book, one of the books that they were looking for, and it wasn't there. It was a hardcover and it was missing its cover. So it's I wouldn't say sleeve, but it's cover. So I just let them know to contact and and report what had happened. All right, so Sith Alchemy. Now, this is where, and like I said, I'm skipping over some information here because I wanted to get this taken care of first. And then we'll, track back to other stuff, go back to the other stuff like the Sith beasts and the war beasts and stuff like that. And so here we go. And I will read some of the annotations that like Mace or Yoda or Luke have left in here because I think it's very interesting. And even Sidious, I think it's very interesting to get their perspective as they were reviewing this book that was put together, and you get to see their viewpoints. I'm getting breakfast, so I'm going to be eating breakfast while we're talking as well. Thank you, babe. Like, here you go. All right. So let's see here. It's a sleeve. Yeah. Okay. Didn't have the sleeve on this book. All right. So I've did that. I got the hardcover for Visions of the Future, I think, for the Hand of Thrawn duology. And I never got the sleeve or the cover. And I'm like, it's fine. I got the hardcover. I mean, yeah, it would have been beautiful with its cover, with its sleeve or whatever. But I mean, that's not a big deal. I got it and it's a beautiful, like the hardcover thing is very beautiful. It's like very beautiful blackish blue color and it looks really nice nonetheless. So, but I'm not that picky sometimes. The book is quality other than it was missing its sleeve thing. Okay. Sith Alchemy. So it talks about how it goes back to, the creatures that they never rise from nature. So again, we're going to talk about the war beasts and the creatures and stuff after that. But we're going to go ahead and just give a little bit of history on them right now. So they were bred from extreme form. Breeding has limits, however. So they're talking about the Sith Alchemy and how they use to breed those and bring those beasts to life with their characters and all that. So So we have that. So I'll go back to that when we go back to the Sith beasts, the war beasts. And but it go as whereas alchemy is immediate and forever. So alchemy, Sith alchemy, which is such a predominant thing when it came to the Sith, the ancient Sith, and how it's amazing how the art got lost over time. And we know why. A lot of it has been destroyed because they didn't want like the future Sith to have such powers that could probably decimate the galaxy. I mean, look at the studies here. Look at what was written here in the Book of Sith about alchemy and how it was used to alter animals, I guess you can say, and influence others, and also, you know, influence even weapons and every. I mean, it's amazing, and it's amazing how, you know, over time, or it's amazing. Let me reword that. It would be amazing if this alchemy was never like all the lessons of it and the history of it wasn't destroyed. Just imagine that. Just imagine. And I've said this before. I said this last time we talked about the Sith alchemy. Imagine that, you know, the Jedi and the galaxy would still be in a different way of life, I guess you could say, if this was not a lot of this information was not destroyed. We probably wouldn't even like, you know, the Death Star in itself probably would have been imbued with some kind of alchemy or whatever. We can go with all these what ifs. The story is how it's supposed to be as we know it. But we can go into what ifs and think about what happened, what would have been with the Sith during Sidious's time and stuff like that. Would he even exist? Right? So, I mean, would there be someone else bigger and badder? Would the galaxy have been just predominantly Sith? Would it have been destroyed by then? Who knows? But this is some crazy crap here. I'm not saying it negatively. It's amazing. It's fascinating. There we go. That's a better word. It's fascinating. Yeah, so much lost Sith knowledge. The Sith are their own worst enemies, destroyed their own lore and to keep it away. Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So they go on. I was one of the greatest master summoners who fought the 100-year darkness. We will get into some more wars and stuff later on. My inspirations came to me in rumors and dreams, and only now in the minaret of the Zayas do I realize it was a call of the Sith all along. Sith alchemists have had ages to perfect their art. Imagine that. So, like, going back to what I was talking about, they have already, like, during this time point, they already had ages to perfect their art. Imagine if they have, like, a lot of this knowledge wasn't destroyed, if, you know, going on into the future, and maybe the new discoveries of other alchemist ways, I guess you could say, and how much it would advance then. And then and their knowledge is now mine. So, like, again, so this goes back into this greed point of the Dark Jedi, the reason why they're outcasted and, you know, and exiled and stuff like that, you know, because they're totally, in a way, even though the Sith purebloods, the Sith people, the species themselves are dark side, a lot of this the concept that they have going on with the exiles is purely from the exiles as well. So it's like going back, okay, so how was the Sith people, the Sith species really, how were they really? They were a thriving culture, right? Until the exiles came in with their own ways and philosophies and stuff. And I think that's, in a way, the Sith, in a sense. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I kind of suspect the Death Star was inspired by the ancient Sith Lord, Darth Plagueis, who created weapons during the Old Republic. Yeah, I mean, you're going back in history. Like when you even look at the history here with their type of weapons and how they imbued them and stuff like that, and even it's all harkened back to the past. Really, it is. So there we go. Sith alchemy is applied to both the living and the non-living. Each is a distinct discipline of study, with the latter being better suited for new apprentices. So we're getting into like how they're teaching and stuff. And like I said, all this new stuff that's going on here is combining the Sith culture to what the exiles brought with their philosophy, and creating a new Sith, I guess you can say. Like I said, the Sith species in itself didn't evolve or didn't have the same philosophies as these exile. It's about them becoming in, being looked at as kind of like gods and stuff, and then taking over on the culture and stuff. So it's very interesting. Let me see here. Darth Bane trilogy really made me appreciate the Sith and why Bane did what he did with the rule of two. Yeah, so that's that. I can't wait to get to the more of the evolution. So we're getting into the birth of the Sith, and then we're going to get into the evolution of the Sith. So very interesting there. And before we leave, I am going to read, before we end this and move on to other topics, I'm going to read the Sith, the evolution of the Sith code. OG, what do you think the most the most underrated Star Wars book is in your opinion? That's a good one. There's a few of them. But I think the Black Fleet Crisis is underrated. The trilogy is underrated. So that's mine. Disney erased the lore, so now now the Death Star is just looks like a big a boob because Sheev was a pervert. Oh my god. Wow, you should see what the history is about Luke's green lightsaber for Disney Star Wars and how Luke got his green crystal. So that's very interesting. I was talking about that with Soul Assassin yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. All right. Let's move on. Alchemy on the excuse me. Alchemy on the non-living is far simpler because there are no living cells to resist you. So very interesting. No living cells to resist you. Now, doesn't that remind you of someone manipulating living cells? Midi-chlorians and the maxi-chlorians, I guess you can say. Plagueis. You know, from Darth Plagueis novel, where people think that they will never know about who Darth Plagueis is now because the Acolyte is canceled. That is so damn funny. This science is used to create amulets and enhance weapons. Any object touched with the alchemical science will become force sensitive itself, forever retaining a mirror imprint of its forager. Alchemy on the living is suited only for masters. The subject's own force energy will fight you as you twist and shape the host. Man, just imagining like using the alchemist properties, magic, or whatever you want to call it, to change a living being, and how probably, I don't know, painful maybe that might be, or scary. I don't know. I'm just trying to give it like another viewpoint of that. And by recasting the shape again and again, you will get a Leviathan. All right. So we have Mace talking here on here. Like I said, I want to read some of these annotations here of Jedi or Sith who are writing in the book here. The council rejects all inquiries into living alchemy. No exceptions. The act is an affront to the living force. That is Mace Windu. Luke says here, Leviathans still live on Korbos. The Surtar sector mining guild was supposed to alert me if they discovered another sleeper. Interesting. So a little bit of lore going on there by Luke Skywalker himself. And what's neat about these books here, even though they came out after the buyout, it's all pre Disney lore, with including the stupid Dathomirian witch bullshit in here. But it just gives you a callback and continuity callback to certain events and stuff, which I like. And Soul Assassin says, no wonder the Rakata lost to the ancient Sith. Their knowledge rivals them in every way. Correct. So the exiles were smart to study and are like learn about that planet and basically find their way over there so that they can settle there. Man, and they created basically a whole new Sith society and stuff. Let's see here. So Sith incantations. Incantations. Yeah, I am going to just skip over that TCW shit. You are right, Justin. I am. Because that she is not, what's her name? Talzin or whatever her name is. She's not a fucking Sith. She's not a Sith. So I don't know why they thought to put her in here. All right. So this is not about dark side. This is about the Sith. Yeah, the Sith are among one of the biggest dark side societies there, but she's not a Sith. So Sith incantations. Alchemy is my science, yet I have found the Sith purebloods possess a new understanding of how to manipulate the dark side. I sought the secrets of spell casting. So spell casting there. I should have, like last night, I was just resting. I'm like the last couple of days I got home. I drove home from Scottsdale. It's about 7.5 hour drive. Monday, I stopped and had coffee with my daughter. So it was a little longer, but I had a whole hour break of just not driving and being able to stand and stretch and just chat with my kid. And, I got on the road and stuff. And so Tuesday I got up, didn't do gym, but I taught my yoga class and did stuff around the house and stuff like that. And so yesterday, I was still feeling like I was still recovering from. And then I taught yoga again, my booty yoga, which is a high impact style yoga. So, so I feel like I'm acclimating back into my flow and settling back into the home. And yeah. Okay, so spell casting. So my point I was getting at was I should have went through the book and pulled up like what spell casting is, if I can do some research on it, but maybe another time. So spell casting in my pilfered holocron, but it is a guardian, but its guardian was jealous. Casting my net wider, I recovered scrolls submerged in the blood slurry of the mongrel altar. They were concealed behind a mural of King Otis at the internal pyre. So basically, a lot of this was hidden. A lot of this, was hidden. You had to go past certain things and not be hurt or destroyed or what have you to gain and find this knowledge. So it was very interesting. Let's see here. Now you guys are all chatting away about TCW. Yeah. TCW again getting shoehorned into everywhere that at the end. Yeah. But like I said, if you catch the nuances, Fate of the Jedi was kind of retconning something with the Mortis. So I was enjoying that. If you caught it. Let's see here. It is, so I'm going to skip over this other stuff. But you know what? I'm not. So let's go back to that. They were concealed behind the mural of King Addis at the Eternal Pyre. Interred alongside the headless body of Wermuk. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. The Undying, reading one of these great scrolls, invariably unleashed a curse. I have found that the longer I must fight off horror, blindness, and liquefaction, the more valuable is the information the scrolls contain. So again, so it's basically booby trapped, I guess you can say, and protected by certain spells and stuff like that, which can destroy you, which can liquefy you, I guess you can say. That's kind of horrifying, right? And so you must really be strong in the Force, understand what you're dealing with to get past all of that. Exactly. Had to prove yourself worthy of the knowledge. There we go. It is not sufficient to simply use Force powers, as the Jedis teach. Ritual gives spellcasting added power. Memorizing the incantations, speak them with conviction, and weave the invisible lines of power through gestures. I wonder, it says weave the invisible lines with the powers of gestures. I wonder if this is where the Force is a thread by the Acolyte witches there. I wonder if Headland read this or Filoni read this and was like, this underlined area, and was like, oh, we could say the Force is a thread. Holy shit. I can't believe I linked that too. I'm pretty sure that's not how it happened, but that's where my mind went to. Holy shit. And Abu Nas, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Holy heck. I know you get busy with work, so you have to catch the replay or have you, but thank you for coming in and giving this $10 super chat. I greatly appreciate you. Sending my support to my favorite Star Wars historian. So happy to see you back teaching the truth of Star Wars. Now that Acolyte bites the dust. Haha. Acolyte bites the dust. Unfortunately, I'm working in court, so I'll catch the playback. Much love. Thank you so much. Like I said, he's a busy man. He works. Through this, I have changed the world in ways my teachers never imagined. So, like I said, and weave invisible lines of power through gesture. So I wonder if that's where they like, oh, we could call the Force the thread. Oh my God. Holy shit. I mean, mind you, I did kind of stick up for, another Force society, calling it something different, because we do have that in the EU. Like you have, I think the Fallen Nazi. You have the Anting for sure, saying it's like a rainbow, different color spectrum kind of thing. Fine, sure, it's cool how their perspective is. Then you have the Fallen Nazi saying it's kind of like a wave or something like that. I have to go back and refresh my mind on exactly how they call that. But so that's not a big deal, but it does sound funny with the chanting and stuff like that and what they did with it. So Batu, hello Batu. Let me see. Hey OG, stuck on the overtime or on overtime today. Can't chat. But about Acolyte being canceled, now those jerks who call me a crybaby baby over the Sword of the Jedi know what it feels like. Never gonna stop saying it. Yeah, exactly. I've been rubbing salt in the wounds all since it was, it was announced that the Acolyte is not going to be given a second season, which we kind of knew. If you did your research, Headline even said that before the show came out and even after. So there you go. So here are some of the spells here. I'm not going to go through. I'm going to name them. If you have the book, you can read them. Sutta. I'm not going to try to read the Sith words to this. I don't feel like stumbling and getting it wrong. So I'm just going to read the English. Our bolt of hatred. So the bolt of hatred is by focusing your rage on the ones who stand against you. You can conjure a spear of dark energy to pierce their flesh. And then the dark side web. I guess I'm going to read them to you. With quick and precise finger slashes, you can spin a treachery of force tendrils to block a sword or bind a foe. Imagine all of this. Imagine all this if this wasn't lost. If these spells weren't lost, how to do them, or this alchemy, and it wasn't kept secret, and it was passed along. Just imagine all of this happening during Palpatine's time. And then the suppressed thoughts. By first adding your victim's brain or addling your victim's brain and then supplanting the quieted thoughts with the sound of your own voice, you can control the will of another. We kind of seen that in the lore over time with the Sith and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something that's kind of carried on, in a way. The summoned demon, by concentrating on the air and energy around you, you can call forth a manifestation of the dark side. A dream beast has no true form. Its shape is whatever its victim fears most. Oh, holy shit. Just imagine that. Getting into your opponent's fears and casting or summoning a demon and all of that. Holy shit, that is fucking scary. And then the reanimated dead. This complex spell animates both the freshly dead and the skeleton of the Corian fields, transforming them into an unstoppable legion impervious to pain and able to transmit a necromancy infection by biting. And then it goes on to say, I would take pleasure in meeting with Datka Grush, and who died decades before our arrival. Though he is gone, it was he who melded alchemy and spellcasting to perfect necromancy. So imagine this. So Luke Skywalker says here, members of isolated forest traditions have similar rituals. I'm convinced that all such requirements for using the Force are unnecessary. So that's Luke Skywalker, and I'm pretty sure that's from his learning about other Force societies when he went on his exile, casted on his exile. And Sidious goes on to here, and some of it I have patience with me because his handwriting on the side is kind of hard to read a little bit in some ways. Korriban's Valley of Golk teams with lurching bundles of bones, still waiting for orders from a creator who has been dead for 7,000 years. Holy shit. So just imagine that, waiting for orders from your past master who is dead. Let me see here. And then Justin has been doing history and talking about the Sith on his channel, so check out some of his videos there. Let's see here. And Exarchun had a run with Korriban zombies when he vanished or visited the planet. A run-in, not ruin. A run-in with Korriban zombies. He did. That's a very fun read too, so check it out. He did. And then it said I didn't get a chance to read this. The fools blundered 2 strong women, built up a ready to go Jaina and Zana. Yep, exactly. That was my point. And I shared that on Twitter. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and change this. All right. And who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Sith Busters. Oh my God. I actually have some that will overlap with some of this, making vids for my Knights of Malvin War celebration panel. Cool. I can't wait. So check it out. I did watch a couple of his, actually I watched most of that, or all of them that he's done so far. And of course, like them. Even if I don't comment, I like them and sometimes share. So check it out. Words have power. Proof in the Sith scrolls I acquired. When read, these release malevolence as a safeguard against those who would unlock their secrets. Better to leave hundreds blinded with a binding curse than surrender power to a single fool. So here you go. So like all these right here, words have meaning, power within their alchemy and stuff. And just look at this. So imagine, I'm going to go into the development of the Sith lore and stuff with George Lucas and the creatives that he hired to help, create the Sith lore. And, that is also language. Yeah, it's not one single man like Tolkien, but I still give respect because it is a single man working with people he trusts that are, great authors, great Imagineers, and I guess you could say, creating a Sith language, Sith lore, all of this right here that we're reading here today. And it's just amazing to me that like how extensive and how creative Lucasfilm of the time was. Today, not really. But, we're not going to get into that right now. So you have the summon omen, and then of course you have everything else that trickles down here in this cast spell. So this is the script of the script of the translations or whatever. So it's not fully translated back into basic, basically. Basically. That sounds funny. And so Yoda says, kept far away from the younglings, such inclinations must be. So he's basically keeping this away from the younglings because, curious young minds who don't know better, we have examples of that. Exar Kun is one of them, who wanted to know about the Sith lore and stuff and was very curious. Now, he wasn't a youngling at the time, but still, you have people that can't, that are so curious that sometimes it's detrimental to them in a sense, So very interesting what Yoda said there. The abilities describe the ancient Sith language are now are new and astonishing. And it is clear that in all of the eons since the Jedi left Tython, they have never divined the value of incarnation. When a Sith sorcerer speaks, he gives voice to the thousand mages who went before him. Armed with the proper commands and trappings, the dark side can be bound, leashed, and led down any path of your choosing. Holy shit. Just imagine this. Like I said, like a lot of this was lost and stuff. So from Sith spells that require vocalization are written in Sith tongue and consequently must be pronounced as such. Be aware that it is more than recitation. Your inflections must be both precise and passionate. Speak with hesitation and the spell may haunt you instead. Man, most incarnations have a specific meter and rhyme and thus cannot be modified. The most complex incarnations unleash spells of volcanic intensity. Spells, however, require time to prepare and to recite. They are challenging to use during combat. Sith kings often remove their best sorcerers from the battlefield's scrum, positioning them atop high parapets where they rain curses upon the enemy's legions below. Holy shit. Just imagine you have all your warriors, your army down below. You have your casters above. And then helping the warriors down below against your enemies. Holy fucking shit. The potency of incarnation can be enhanced with amulets and runic raiments and robes. Robes known for the wraps of frost are inked with hexes and draws power from the mummy they shroud. For 100 years, that power grows as it steeps in the mummy's dark energies. All right. So I didn't put the Sith code up here, but I'm going to read it here. All right. So let me see what you guys are saying. OG, remember when Dooku was a youngling, his friend was fascinated with the King Otis holocron that he stole it. and activate it with his and are in his bedroom, causing the entire temple to freak out and exile that Padawan. Yes. Yes, exactly. Like another lore bit there. Speaking gives substance to thoughts by which it can influence reality. The degree may differ. And hello, Jack. How are you doing? When Lucasfilm made Dooku, Jedi Lost, they replaced that Jedi Padawan of Sifo Dyas with Sifo Dyas. Yeah. I don't know much about that show, so thank you for sharing that with me. Imagine pre-Disney Lucasfilm with George adapting that in the big screen. That would be fucking crazy. That would be great. So you know what? We're gonna get into the Sith Code later because there's a lot to read here. Not a lot to read here, but there's an evolution of the Sith Code here. And I would love to just have this on screen with you and talk about that too. So we'll probably add that next week with the War Beasts and talk about the Alchemy some more and the Sith Code, because that's something that needs to be discussed on its not entirely on its own, but you know, in its like on screen and all of that. This book introduced me to the ideas of Sithari and got me to read the Bane trilogy. Amazing. That's pretty cool. Okay. So we have it. So the Alchemy of the Sith. So imagine that. You know, by time you get to Plagueis frowned on Sith alchemy. He went more into science. Even though there are some aspects of alchemy he still used to benefit his scientific approach, he still did stuff scientifically. And he kept the Sith alchemy away from Palpatine. Well, he thought he did, right? If you read Darth Plagueis, you know that, you know, Palpatine put on a front towards his own master, basically. And he explains all of that when he's killing his master, you know, towards the end and stuff. So it's really amazing with that. But Plagueis is a biologist, correct? He's a biologist, where Palpatine was like, I'll be a bit of both, but I like the alchemy better. So that's very interesting. But like I said, just imagine if, you know, the stuff was lost, destroyed, hidden, what have you. And but just imagine if it wasn't, you know, or it wasn't lost over time. Like how the Sith would be, you know, in the modern times of Star Wars in the timeline. Very interesting to say and think about, contemplate, I guess you can say. Let me see here. Nobody mentions R.A. Salvatore, the guy who wrote the Desert books. Oh, okay. I'm seeing what you wrote. The first New Jedi Order novel. Yeah. That's a good one. But we are not talking about New Jedi Order and that era. Although that novel, yeah, that was a very, very good novel. You know, even within its tragedy and stuff like that. That's this amazing novel. Let me see here. Let me see what you guys are saying about Plagueis. Plagueis is a true modern scientist with sin in the old Renaissance version. Yeah. I get it. Let's see here. All right. So what we're going to do now. Plagueis is not a pervert from the... it says Plagueis is not a pervert from a hentai anime. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the book of the week. So Caf Chat book of the week. And so if you need to refresh your drinks and stuff like that, feel free to do that. I will play since we're talking about, where is it at? Where's Vector Prime? Rebel Scum, Dave, Elegant Whip. Oh, here we go. Since we're talking about New Jedi Order briefly, let's go ahead and play this.
I have fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure at this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the New Jedi Order.
story you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
All right. So I have a hint. I played a hint today on what the book Caf Chat book of the week is. And so here it is. And mind you, I got this when I was saying support Legends and show Disney what we prefer. Now I'm like, try not to get the Legends label. So I have to replace this book. So let me get on screen here real quick here. I'm like leaving you guys in the dark. You're like, what are you talking? And I took myself out because I pressed the wrong button. Here we go. So here we go. So this right here, like I said, I gave you guys kind of a hint. If you watched the in the beginning where I played the Old Republic cinematic trailer, Deceived. So like I said, this was back when I was rebuilding my library. And so I need to replace this with a non-Legends label. But right here, Deceived. So we have, this is when Malgus, basically brought down the temple and stuff like that. So you guys seen it in the trailer, that trailer there. So this is the book of the week here is Old Republic by Paul S. Kemp, Deceived. Again, everything Sith-oriented, Sith-related here. So let's see here. Next on the list right after I finish Revan. There you go. There you go. Ew, a Legends banner. Correct. I know. So like, if you guys know the history of my channel, I used to say, and I admit it, I used to say support the Legends label and purchase only Legends, I guess you can say, or EU to show Disney what we want. But that didn't work, right? Because nothing has happened. Now my stance has been for quite a while after that is buy non-Legends label EU. Don't give back that money to Disney in any way, shape, or form. So yes, I have to replace still some Legends, and I'll probably donate these to a library or something like that, so that at least these are being, in the hands of people who are new to the EU or want to add to their library and stuff like that. So yeah, this will be replaced. But yes, so Old Republic Deceived by Paul S. Kemp. That is the book of the week. Let me see what you guys are saying. My hardcover upgrade of Deceived is on its way. No banner, like new condition and like new condition. Deceived is one of the underrated EU books in my honest. Yes, it is. It's another one. So I kind of went to the New Republic when I talked about like an underrated book. Let's see here. Legends banner means it's good stuff. Yeah, you could say it that way too. I just, like I said, the reason why I stepped away from that kind of thought, I guess you can, well, I'm not saying that, whatever's under Legend banner isn't bad or is bad. But the reason why I stepped away from supporting Legends banner in a sense is money wise. Don't give Disney your money. I have the Darth Bane trilogy and not Legends and Plagueis, but the rest I have Legends banner I need to replace. Yeah, so I've been slowly replacing some of the stuff that I have that has Legends on it. So let's see here. There we go. No money for people who hate you. Correct. All right. So next topic. Let's go ahead and get into, and let me go ahead and take this off, this remove from studio. So we know that there was basically an announcement that there will be no approved second season of the Acolyte, which I don't care, right? Makes no difference to me. What caught my eye is how that triggered so many of these Disney fans pertaining to the Acolyte, and how bad they are throwing fits and crying and stuff on social media, particularly the Twitter. And then what got me thinking was This is how you're going to act. And then they're gaslighting people who don't like the Acolyte or never watched it. I mean, they're throwing blame any which way. They're gaslighting by saying, oh, well, the bigots and the racists got their way. They won, you know, so they're gaslighting, not even putting blame on where it is supposed to be. And that's Disney Lucasfilm. They never stated why they canceled other than, you know, the viewership and stuff like that. There's there's nothing, there's no proof of them saying, yeah, we listen to these YouTube channels that don't like it. There's none of that. But they are using that to gaslight and to make it, you know, like, again, throw blame everything every which way but Disney. But then there are some of them that are now turning against Disney, turning against the new projects that are coming out, like Grogu and the Mandalorian and Grogu and Ahsoka. So that's quite interesting. This has been an interesting phenomenon going on with these guys here. You know, us long-term fans that grew up with the EU and are now called EU elitists by these very same people and such. We never reacted in such a way. You know, some of us kind of knew that the discontinuation of the EU was going to happen, embraced for it. Some of us were in hopes of like continuations, like, you know, 2 timelines, kind of like a multiverse, I guess you could say. Never happened. Some were thinking, oh, well, maybe they'll still get us something good that I can relate to, that's still in harmony with George Lucas' intention of the story, right? Didn't happen. You know, but we never went to this type of degree of throwing fits on social media. Like I said, it's an interesting phenomenon. So here I am, like I said earlier in the beginning of the show, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'm going to rub some nice chunky sea salt into those wounds and let them cry some more. Why? Because there was no remorse. There was no pity or anything when they discontinued the EU. So why should I give the same respect back? Like I said before, in the beginning, I was like, I wouldn't want that to happen to them, so I'm going to have some compassion. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Give me some salt. Give me some pepper too. Why not? Let's just barbecue them, right? Let's just season their salty ass or their whiny ass, wounded ass pride and ego, I guess you can say. I don't know. Ego is your personality, so. But yeah. So here I am. I'm taking pure pleasure and I don't give a shit. I don't give a fucking shit what you think about me for taking pure pleasure, because you didn't have no fucking remorse for me when I was stunned and shocked at the course of where they were taking the EU and stuff, you know? Or even when discussing it and you go and say, what's no longer canon? Like I can like, even today, I can sit and talk. Like people are saying, we'll never learn about Plagueis. I'm like, well, read the novel. That's not EU, you know, kind of deal. Yeah. So because of that, I'm going to sprinkle the salt all over your wounded ass and let that shit just sting the hell out of you. Why not? Why the fuck not? I don't care. I don't give a shit. You know, let's see here. So I'm going to share some of the tweets here pretty soon. So Assassin says, somewhere Darth Toby is rubbing his paw saying, good at OG's darkness or dark side. Yeah, he is. Exactly, Laura. These SJW fake fans don't deserve any sympathy. Dummy Headland left it open-ended, never to be resolved. I think that was the result of bad writing. Like I said, there are a couple of interviews, her saying that there was never going to be a second season. You know, so I think that, and because of that, she wanted to get Darth Ghostface, or sorry about that, Darth Gimpface. Sorry about that, sweetie. Darth Gimpface in the story a lot earlier. Not talking about Plagueis, talking about the helmeted Gimpface guy. so that he can have a little bit more story. So that's where like the bad writing comes in, because she and her writers restructured the story, right? And so it made it feel like it was open-ended. Smilo Ren. Yeah, Smilo Ren. I call it Darth Gimp Face because of how the mask looks and everything like that. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys call him Smilo Ren. Yeah. So yeah, sorry about that. I was like, oh shit, no, not Ghostface. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead and take a look. And now I pulled up, I did the hashtag the Acolyte. So some of it, that hashtag will have some of the information, some of them, you know, what they're tweeting and stuff. So let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. Let me see, share screen. There we go. I'm chewing on some bacon. Bacon is so fucking good. Okay. So here we have here. The Acolyte was the first Star Wars anything that my girls and wife have liked, who were generally excited to see season 2 and what happens to Osha. This was building the next generation for your of your fan base, and you canceled it. Save the Acolyte. I'm gonna click on Save the Acolyte here pretty soon. Now, yes, the Acolyte was pandering towards women and girls, towards me. But I am proof. I am the proof as a woman, and as a woman of minority heritage, ethnicity, or whatever race that you want to call, whatever you want to call it, that you didn't need to pander to people like me, my gender, my race, to get me interested in Star Wars. So see where this is like disingenuous towards female fans? Because you are saying that we are so close fucking minded that we can't see past our gender and past our race to enjoy a show. And that fucking pisses me off. That pandering, that tokenism that you use for a show. Growing up, my hero was fucking Skywalker, right? This white boy who basically there's no race generally like to speak about in Star Wars, right? But of course, appearance wise, in our standards, he's white, right? Farm boy, moisture farm boy from Tatooine, who sets out on a journey, a hero's journey of discovery of his own lineage, his own destiny. And in the hero, growing through a lot of adversity, a lot of failures that he had to be rescued from, right? But still growed with quite maturity. By the time you see him Revenge of Sith, you can see that growth. You can still see uncertainty because, of course, that's just human nature of still doubting, but still having that confidence, but still have that little bit underlying doubt or what have you, right? So you still see that. But by the time he declares himself a Jedi in front of the Emperor, you could tell that this story, like this, like he's overcome a lot and came a long way, right? Mind you, I love Leia. She was badass. She had her own growing, and I'll get into that. And then after, after the celebrations and he sees, his masters and his father, as Force ghosts on Endor. And then he goes and hugs and they walk towards the celebration. Man, I wanted to know, what happens next with him especially, but also with everybody else that I seen on the screen. And that's what the EU. But mind you, do you notice that This is not about how he looks or if he looks like me or if he has the same genitals as me or the same race. And no, it was about this character's arc, how well he is written, how I can relate to him in adversity and trying and triumphing, right? And Leia's the same way, but her story, her journey was going from a more of a masculine, strong woman kind of deal, which is not a bad thing at all. She was self-sufficient. She was a leader. We see her embrace all of that for a leadership role and only needing herself, right? To opening up to these men that saved and rescued her, opening and softening up to love, to finally being this woman that can embody both, love and the other, like a partner, basically, and still her strong leadership stance. So she went from this, I wouldn't say callous, but the strong leadership role that didn't need anybody, that was, very staunch, I guess you could say, to a very soft demeanor leader who still embraces all of that, but softens into womanhood, I guess you could say. But no, you can't have that today, right? You can't have womanhood today, not like it used to be, because the feminist activists of today don't like that kind of stuff. So you see where I'm getting at here with that? I did not need to be pandered to, and I'm pretty sure Melissa Lord, who's in the chat, feels the same way. And I know that she had her little essay too that I absolutely loved. And stuff like that. Trusat Bakura happens immediately after Return of the Jedi. Correct. And that was my first novel in the EU I read. Allura always spitting facts. Correct. I mean, that's just how it was. That's how it is. It's kind of her thing, right? It's kind of my thing. Everything you are saying is how I feel. Leia gained balance as well, and so did Han. So I'm not trying to leave Han out of this. He went from the selfish to the selfless guy. So that was his arc. That was his arc. And let's see here. So let's go ahead and check out some more. Literally, do I need to read this? So Big Sister General. So this is another woman. The fucking Mandalorian and that dumb baby got 3 seasons and a movie, and you can't give the Acolyte one more final season. I see my messages are going off. Let's see here. And another one. I don't know what role it might be, but this man should be in the Bridgerton universe. Okay, so what does this have to do with? Oh, I see. Yeah. And of course, you have women swooning over him. Mind you, he's not bad looking. Mind you, Sith do seduce and stuff like that, and are very ruthless. But there's more writing on his behalf, and it's not his fault. But they're really shipping these guys. So this is, talk to me about how Star Wars is the best sci-fi series. At its worst is a million times better than whatever this shit is. Okay, so this one is so I don't know what this is about. I think it's kind of funny. You guys can expand on that some more. And then of course we have World Cross Bullshitter talking here. All right, let me go and see. Click on that and let's see what we can find in there. Where are you? Where are you? Just pass it up. To save the here. Save the Acolyte. Here we go. Let's see what we can show here. Okay. Save the Acolyte. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis? No, they canceled the Acolyte. Read the fucking book, everybody. What the fucking hell? Read the book. All right. And Darth Thunder, I've shared a lot of his tweets before. The finale of the Acolyte was the finale of the Acolyte was trailer made to set up a season 2. Again, like I said, It was poorly written. That's all. She wanted Darth Gibbs in there earlier because she knew that there wasn't going to be a second season, and she had him towards the end. So that rewriting, redirection of the show is what makes it feel like it's open-ended. Casual reminder that the light side choreography on the Acolyte is some of the we've had in decades. It was that good. Save the Acolyte. So they're now straw manning like crazy. And again, no, it's not. You see everybody here wanting the renew or save the Acolyte. Let's see, renew the Acolyte. Let's see what they say in here. Another one here. I can't believe we're saying goodbye to this level of lightsaber action. I can't because it's fucking stupid. It's no good. It does not outweigh what George did for the PT whatsoever. Hell, some of the Old Republic trailers are way better. Let me see. The Acolyte was the first Star Wars thing that. Oh, I already read that one. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Please kill the narrative that Acolyte didn't have any good numbers. It did, and it did relatively well. Even their previous Nielsen showed that. Not really. Nielsen showed it dropped. A new series of 8 episodes per 30-minute had enough numbers to back it up. It's not why it's canceled. So again, they're saying it's canceled because of, bigoted fans and stuff like that, which is bullshit. All right, I'm going to stop here now. If you want to see what I've said about some tweets that I shared, retweeted with handing them tissues and stuff like that, go ahead and check out my Twitter. Let me see what you guys are saying. And then we'll look at that article. And then we'll get into Cringe Factor. Cringe Factor is the very last thing. And it goes into the Acolyte still. But I just wanted to show you guys an article as well. Let's see here. Disney Star Wars lightsaber duels suck. They don't hold a candle to the lightsaber duels in the 6 real Star Wars movies. Especially the PT. The PT, mind you, I love absolutely the OT's duels and stuff like that. You could see the difference, tell the difference between the regression of the Jedi because of the Order 66 and Luke having to relearn everything and stuff like that, and how he brought everything back. BS, it was canceled because it's the worst season of TV ever. Correct. Let's see here. The 2 episodes premiere of The Acolyte has the second lowest viewership ratings for the Disney Star Wars show after Andor. Yep. And it's so funny that they don't share that information. They just talk about it because they figure I don't have to show information. I don't have to share evidence. So it should be all true. Disney Star Wars lightsabers. Oh, I already read that one. Let me see. The 2 episode premiere of The Acolyte. The second lowest viewership rating for a Disney Star Wars show after Endor. Oh, I read that one. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and share that article by Empire. Now, I don't think I want to read it all because we have Cringe Factor, but you'll get a gist of this. I'll share this on my Twitter. I'm not going to share it in my Twitter community page because that's all about George Lucas Star Wars. So I'm not going to do that. The Acolyte deserved. Let me see. Is it showing on the screen? Yeah, it is. All right. I'm just going to keep everything like as is. All right. So this is by the Empire by Ben Travis. The Acolyte deserved a season 2 and Star Wars will be poor without it. What do you guys think? Do you think Star Wars is poor without it, or do you think Star Wars under Disney is poor in general? I think it's the latter. Star Wars under Disney is poor in general. In Star Wars, there's always been more than one side to a story. When Luke Skywalker confronted Obi-Wan Kenobi Force in the Return of the Jedi, having to learn that his father is Darth Vader and not, as Obi-Wan was previously claimed, a man killed by Vader. The Jedi, that doesn't mean there's 2 sides to the story. There was still a single side to the story. He just wasn't telling the full truth. What do you guys think? Do you think there's 2 stories in that, or is that he just was not revealing the full truth because they felt that Luke wasn't strong enough to know the truth? Let me see here. Let me go back to the screen. No Star Wars story has dug into the idea of certain point of view quite like the Acolyte. So they're going to lean on the certain point of view. All right. What do you guys think? All original High Republic era series devised by Leslie Helen, in which a Jedi cover-up spawns disastrous consequences for all involved. Across its first and now only season, the show presented a series of shifting viewpoints on a situation with no clear-cut answers. There was a fucking clear there. All right. From what I've seen and researched, because you know, when they're sharing that the Jedi are bad and the Sith are good, I'm gonna research this shit, right? I'm gonna research. I don't have to watch to be privy on what's going on. So, with that being said, they had every reason to be honest. This was clearly Leslie Headland's desire to make the Jedi look like they're evil. When you look into the show and when there was opportunity to be faithful and truthful to what was going on, they didn't do it. But then again, there were some scenes that they were trying to make the Jedi look bad, but they were justified in protecting that girl, Osha, and her other side of herself, I guess you could say, whatever that means, because I guess they're not twins. I guess what they're supposed to be like, the Force split the being in two, which twins, I don't know. But anyways, and to protect, basically act in protection is what I'm trying to say in, I guess, the show when they're in the temple with them or whatever that place was that the witches built, their castle, their temple, or whatever it is. I don't know. Some of you guys who have watched this or have watched or are more privy to the show than I am, you know, let me know. Correct me if possible, because, you know, like I said, you could research and do all that stuff, but there's some things that you probably will miss, which is fine. I don't mind being corrected. So they're trying to say, oh, well, there's no clear-cut answers, just flawed people making flawed decisions. No. In a sense, you could, this thing about being flawed, Jedi being flawed, every being species in this galaxy is flawed. It is the decision on being truthful or not. So you're saying like the Jedi temples has these beings that can't be truthful and they're all flawed? Who the hell is Yoda and them recruiting then? And what kind of morality are they fucking teaching in that temple if they are, you know, producing a bunch of flawed beings? People who are flawed cannot sustain peace and justice in a time when there's supposed to be peace and justice for a fucking 1,000 years, right? So what the hell is going on here? What is in Leslie's mind? I'm gonna see what you guys are saying, because we already in this portion and I'm like already had a little rant. Let's see here. Hey there, Vertical Horizons. How you doing? Osha unjustly and randomly kills Soul. Was Leslie Headland's Lego-headed saying to kill the patriarchy, even if it's carrying father figure? Yeah, that's another thing too. That is all about killing the patriarchy, basically because of them being too protective and wanting to be fatherly figure and not letting the person grow. I forgot what they called it. It was some kind of bullshit term. But yeah. We have flawed Jedi fatigued. Well, judging from Headland's past, she only write what she knows, OG. Correct. Correct. And hey there, Maz. How you doing? All right, going back to the article. So they're saying like this will also it was unique storytelling mode for the galaxy far, far away, expanding upon the brief Rashomon-esque Luke and Kylo flashbacks of the Last Jedi to deliver a malfaceted, I was going to say manufactured, malfaceted story, boasting stark revelations, critiques of the Order, a sympathetic view of the personal betrayals that might draw an individual to the dark side, and real personal pain. What the fuck? Okay, so with all this being said and how this person worded it, we already seen critiques of the Order and then a sympathetic view of a personal betrayal that might have drawn an individual into the dark side. That's Anakin in the PT. And the manipulation of Anakin by Palpatine. We've seen all this already. All of this already in the PT. So this is nothing new like this Empire is trying to say. And real personal pain, that pain now felt by the acolyte. You know, so, and it says the show will not return for season 2. It's like a massive mistake. For fans, they're saying for fans, there'll be a real sense of unfinished business. Do you think that this is unfinished business to you? Well, season 1 reached a satisfying point in its cyclical characters arc. Really, cyclical? There's nothing cyclical in any of these characters' arc. Because if it's cyclical, that means that it would already have came to a conclusion, right? So how can they say it's unfinished business and then say there's a cyclical character arc when there was nothing of that? Sisters Osha and May had effectively switched places on the scale of light and dark, inverting the board with, and that's the thing. All of a sudden, you can just like switch back and forth with no repercussions. I shared yesterday a clip from what was it? Specters of the Past, Thrawn duology, about Luke being tainted by the dark side because he did go to the threshold of the dark side in Dark Empire. So, and how that taints him and how he has to watch his use of the Force because that can, you know, be harmful to him and lead him to the dark side. So here, there's no repercussions whatsoever. They can go back and forth, I guess, right? And then it says, inverting the board in which the show began, there are major questions posed for potential season 2 that will remain unanswered. Who exactly is the stranger? Well, we know who he is. He is a fucking Sith. And Headland even said that before. The mysterious masked baddie. Ooh. What exact was his faction former relationship with the Master Venestra Rowe, whatever her name is? Well, I mean, okay, so this is where I went into the multimedia rant I did earlier in the show. Star Wars is a multimedia franchise. So what's not told here, and if I have any Disney shills listening right now, because I know you guys lurk, the story can be told in a comic or in a book, right? It's not the fucking end of the world. It's not like they ended your continuity, your EU, not like they tossed your EU, your lore aside like they did with ours. You're going to get continued stories. Just because you're not seeing it, just because you're not going to see Osha and Darth Gimpface fuck like you want to see. Yes, there. Maybe you'll read it on page, and then you can imagine in your vacuous head. All right, I'm going to go on. How does this brief glimpse, I was going to say gimp face. How does briefly glimpse Sith Lord Darth Plagueis impact the stranger in Osha's story? Who fucking cares? By inserting Plagueis in, he's no longer Plagueis because all the machinations, everything, his character arc, how he evolved and stuff, is now wiped clean. And you made him a fucking creeper in a cave. This intelligent Sith Lord who hides in plain sight, you erased all of his story to put him in this as a creepy cave dweller or whatever. And how would Yoda have responded to this Ministera's decision to cover up the cover up? Well, this right here too, obviously, you know that, oh, he allowed it. So now he's this guy who is not trustworthy, that he allowed the Sith to fucking rise because he allowed this cover up. That's not hard to contemplate what you're doing here. So people can't wrap their minds about this and Yoda being put in there as well, knowing that he has to keep this a secret now. That destroys his character once we get into the PT. That's not hard to put two and two together. So he goes on to say, unless the remaining story is told in other form, novels perhaps we'll never know. Well, like I said, it's a multimedia project. So I'm not going to continue this right here, but I wanted to share this article. I will share with this on Twitter as well. Let me see what you guys are saying. So we can get into this cringe factor. Cringe factor, which has some more Acolyte fun. Oh my God. Creepy. Excuse me. Creeping in a cave. Well, let's not choke on some toast while I'm talking with you guys. Darth Plagueis, Darth plagiarized the unoriginal since he learned how to create life from lesbian space witches. Hello, Steezel for life. How are you doing? Plagueis is space golem. A Snoke removal friend. Like Rizzy said, Pornhub will probably make the Acolyte sequel. Oh my God, just imagine that. Pornhub will make some bank on that, huh? Oh my God. And a lot of people can polish their sticks and all that on that. All right. Leslie is a shipper that was given an $180 million budget to write her twisted fantasies and fetish. Let's see here. I've seen things, OG. The horrors of shipping art have caused me many nights rest. Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen some stuff too. Like the Anakin and Ahsoka shipping shit. Man, so stop whining. Who's whining? All right. So let's move on to cringe factor here. So I just thought I'd share that article here. It's like, give us this because we don't know, blah, 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 blah. Do you realize that, like I said, they already announced some books that's going to follow up to the show? Quit your fucking crying. Be happy that your lore is being continued and not tossed, right? Oh my God. All right. Let's go ahead and remove this. All right. And let's get into our cringe factor. I need to grab some water. So I'm going to put on a quick little commercial again. I don't know which one's the longest. I'm going to put on not a commercial, but an intro that's 5 minutes. And then we'll get into cringe factor because I do need to grab some water and or at least a little bit more coffee. So I'm doing a Raging Rhino. Watch this video as I return.
3, 2, 1.
Everything published was canon.
Good day, Star Wars fans. Long live George Lucas era of Star Wars. If you are new here, welcome, welcome. I have been watching, researching, comparing, and contrasting the original lore to Disney's Star Wars lore. I have shown disdain on a beloved title being used for a new miniseries, and that is Tales of the Jedi. Taking a very loved Old Republic story title to try to recreate a similar feeling to a different story era, hoping to appease the expanded universe fans they told aren't wanted anymore. The show has 6 episodes, mostly written by Dave Filoni. Those who don't know, he is the creator and director of The Clone Wars. The average runtime of Tales of the Jedi short stories is about 15 minutes. Not a lot of time to develop a story or character. The dialogue isn't very intriguing. Continuity is not in line with their own stories and lore. Clone Wars by Tartakovsky, which had little dialogue with a short story and plot, gave more depth and development. Thinking about how I have disagreed with the title use, why did they not pay respect to the creator of the original and true Tales of the Jedi, Tom Veitch, who passed away February of this year? No, he is not the only contributor, but is the main writer and developer of the stories. You would have thought Disney Lucasfilm would give a respectful note to the creator behind the original title they appropriated. After all, Tom Veitch and George Lucas created the Sith Lore together. This brings to mind how Disney Lucasfilm praised Filoni for the Night Sisters and the Dathomirian Witches in a publication that came out on the passing of Dave Wolverton. It took people like Open Airlock Policy and myself to gain Disney Lucasfilm's attention to take notice and pay respect. Tom's passing was due to complications of COVID, leaving his daughter, Angelica Stasola, to organize a GoFundMe to help Veitch's widow, her mom, Martha, keep her home and medical care through the funeral expenses. As of now, I don't know any of the outcome. It is unclear if Disney Lucasfilm helped with any expenses. As we know, they can't honor contracts with their authors. Why would they reach out and help? This is clearly what a corporation does. There is no compassion and honor to who came before. They just want to suck the legacy dry. The titles even look the same. Don't be mistaken. The company and its lore is as disingenuous as its approach and handling of what came before. Let's hold them accountable for their actions. Rest in peace, Tom Veitch. Thank you for your contribution to the original Star Wars lore.
You want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
Eventually.
So this is how
Star Wars
dies. With thunderous applause.
So uncivilized.
All right. So sorry about that for the little quiet pause. Let me take this off the screen. All right. There we go. Got it all back. I freshened my coffee. And here we are. So yeah, so Tom Veitch, that is a video I've done and I continue to share because that shares the dishonesty with Lucasfilm, Disney Lucasfilm and their creators and stuff. And one thing I didn't share with you guys is how some of these Disney fans are melting down so much that they are not liking the fact that Ahsoka and Mandalorian and Grogu movie is coming out and all this other stuff. So they're kind of turning against Disney Lucasfilm in a sense too. So it's again quite a phenomenon. But with that being said, we're going to get into this cringe factor. I'm going to put the whole image on the screen here. There we go. Well, as much as it will take up. And we're going to get into this. So some of you guys seen me post about this. Star Wars just made Revenge of the Sith best scene more tragic 19 years later. So what does this mean? What are they getting at? So Screen Rant is authentic. They are continued contributors to Cringe Factor. So thank you so much for keeping the cringe. Oh crap, I pressed the button. Now something else. Get your ass out of my sight. There we go. All right. So this is by Louis Glazberg. I think we've done a couple of his articles before here on Cringe Factor. So let's get into this. So what do you think this means? Star Wars just made Revenge of the Sith best scene more tragic 19 years later. So what did they do? I'm not going to read that. All right. So the Acolyte cancellation harms Revenge of the Sith best scene. The tragedy of Darth Plagueis is that his story will not be told. So they're saying because Acolyte was canceled, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis will not be told. So interestingly, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. Interestingly, the scene in question is harmed by, let me see, where did it? Okay, let's go up here. One reason of this is the reveal of reveal of Star Wars Palpatine. Let me just bring back here. Is that the prequel trilogy Sith Lore, although it never exactly hidden from the audience, which Ian McDermott's performance as Palpatine's attempt to seduce Anakin to the dark side will forever be fascinating. One scene that encapsulates best is the one of the strongest in the movie. So you think that him talking about Palpatine is the strongest in the movie, or is just one of the contributing strong scenes in the movie? As Palpatine tells Anakin the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, while the scene is still the best in the film and one of the strongest in the entire prequel trilogy, it has been made more tragic almost 20 years later. Interestingly, the scene in question is harmed by something almost entirely removed from the prequel trilogy, the cancellation of the Acolyte. So, cancellation of the Acolyte, or the Acolyte not continuing to season 2, harms the prequel trilogy and that scene. So you mean to tell me that pre-Disney, pre-Acolyte, that scene in the opera house talking about Darth Plagueis the Wise did not have any conclusion to it, any backstory to it? So therefore, we never got any resolution to who this Darth Plagueis the Wise was. And so now that the Acolyte is no longer being continued for a season 2, it's being harmed because we never got a story before, and that this was the only chance and final chance to get a story of. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like when they toss the discontinued view, they erase, they did some kind of fucking mind trick on these weak-minded assholes. Even this author's an asshole, to where they think that there was nothing done before. They just wave their hands And so there was no source material. And they fucking believed it. Are you fucking kidding me? It was revealed in August 2024 that Lucasfilm would not be picking up the Acolyte for the second season. Oh, where's the salt shaker? I love this. Despite the ending of the show, teasing that Darth Plagueis himself would be involved in the potential story, the show was set around 100 years before the Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, meaning Plagueis' involvement was directly set up for the prequel trilogy. Well, even at his age, he's still an apprentice. So that doesn't make sense. And they did this fucking mind trick on all these idiots, right? So they think that there's no source material, right? And that somehow it was conjured up from somewhere. You know, so it's kind of funny. I don't know. The story would undoubtedly have made Palpatine and Anakin scene in Revenge of the Sith even better. How? We already know who Plagueis is, what happened to him. How would this make it better? Especially when I was stated earlier that they put a character by the name of Plagueis and erased everything about him, basically, because of course there's no source material, right? So how are they going to make it better when this is not even this character that you are hoping will be like the character we read in the Darth Plagueis novels, right? But it can't be that way because it's not canon. You know, that's what they say. It's really canon, but Disney Star Wars isn't canon. But that's a whole different conversation to go through. It's not really a whole different conversation, but anyway. Yeah. So rather than only receiving brief hints about Plagueis' life, Acolyte would have shown his backstory and made the overall context of Palpatine's Sith history much deeper. Told cancellation of the show means Plagueis' story will not be told as it was intended. Its story was already told as it was intended. The Darth Plagueis novel. What the fuck are you getting at here? Meaning the most exciting tease of the Acolyte's ending. Oh, so they're saying that the Acolyte is riding on to being one of the best shows if they do a season 2 and talk about Plagueis. Dangling the keys. Why don't you? Because they can't have no original Sith master for their Darth Gimface, I guess you could say. They have to ride on the coattails of who and what came before. Again, dangling the fucking keys. Members, all of that. So, if anything, this makes the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise much worse. Actually, no, it doesn't. It makes it much better. Why? Because then the history is not, there's no revisionist history going on here. You have the book. You have, like, you know, tales like Darth Plagueis, you know, and stuff like that to learn more about the Sith of that time, particularly Darth Plagueis. All right. Well, will Darth Plagueis' story, Star Wars story, ever be told? The expansiveness of the Star Wars canon makes it a possibility. In the wake of the Acolyte being canceled, the book titled Star Wars Darth Plagueis by James Luceno could be folded back into Star Wars canon. How can that be? It doesn't fit. The story doesn't fit within the timeline. The cancellation of the Acolyte begs the question of whether Plagueis' story will ever be finished. It was fucking finished. You just mentioned where it was finished at, the Darth Plagueis novel by James Luceno. It is worth noting that the book about Plagueis' story is now considered part of Star Wars Legends, which basically is a stupid ass title to what is canon. And nothing in therefore basically contradicts the story too much. Actually, there's a lot that contradicts it. I need to really do a compare and contrast to that timeline. In the wake of Acolyte being canceled, the book titled Star Wars Darth Plagueis by James Luceno could be folded back into Star Wars. It's always fucking been Star Wars. What are you talking about? But we don't want it in Disney Star Wars because that is the faux lore. To give characters some semblance of a story. The story is already in the novel. What the fuck? I swear to God, these people don't. So basically, they're saying, and this sounds so fucking stupid. You know, oh, bring Plagueis' story back into Disney canon. You know, through the novel, the story which tells Plagueis' story, so that they can have a semblance of a story. Okay, that sounds so fucking dumb. You're saying it has a story, but then putting it in your lore will give it some story. What? All right. However, the most likely route forward, whatever the story that Acolyte has planned, is books and comics. Lucasfilm Publishing team could continue Plagueis' story as written sequels to the Acolyte. Okay, we're not going to go there. So what do you guys think? This is Cringe Factor, by the way. Cringe Factor. So they're saying that, you know, Plagueis has a story, but if they put his story, the novel, in Disney lore, then it'll give him some kind of story. Huh? What the fuck? That's like some kind of mental gymnastics going on in that, right? I need an allied Eli Drake Lanite dummy button for these shows. Laugh at. Correct. Oh my God. Only revisionist toys use Legends terminology. It's EU forever. It's Star Wars forever. I'm scrolling up, so if I miss any newer ones, I'm sorry. They want it told in stream form. Legend is not a thing. It's called expanded universe. Correct. Well, shills are welcome to watch my Darth Plagueis videos if they'd like to educate themselves. Laugh out loud. I'm very inclusive. Ooh, you're very inclusive because you had me on your show before. Screenwrite are such authentic shills. Correct. Let me see here. Like I said, I'm scrolling from the bottom up. No bastardization. Correct. Let's see here. The Disney canon, quote unquote canon, is not canon at all. Yeah, correct. Let's see here. All right. So this right now, they're spending all this bullshit going on here, and it's quite funny. They're saying, oh, Plagueis doesn't have a story. But his story is in the novel. And if we put him back, if we put him in our story, our lore, then he will have a story. Can't shit you not. Beautiful gymnastics there, right? Any straw to grasp to make the Acolyte seem more grandiose and epic than it's just desperation and damaged control. Correct. If the shills don't block anyone they assumed was toxic, they'd realize most of us covered Plagueis before the show, specifically because we know the show would have a dumpster fire, Correct. Yep, there we go. So here you guys go. So this is what's going on here. It's like they want to use Plagueis as a crux to have the Acolyte have a second season and then jangle those keys, member berries, what have you. And then once, if that ever does happen, like just say, like, if it does happen, just for example, just to play on it, and we as long-term fans come in and correct all the revisionist history that's gone on with Plagueis, then they're going to go and start talking shit to, like, oh, it was never canon or whatever. So, you know, so we have that back and forth. So they're trying to skirt along and use Plagueis as a crux, basically. And I'm calling bull fucking shit on all of this. Why don't you use your own fucking creative minds and create your own new Sith Lord that could be his master, your Darth Gimface master, and evolve from there? Because what you're showing me and other EU fans is that you don't have your own creativity to produce such a dynamic character like James Luceno did here. You're just riding on the coattails of these creatives under George Lucas because you have nothing, not a goddamn inch of creativity in your body. I can probably come up with a better new Sith Lord than what you did even with Darth Ghost. No, I almost did it again. Darth Gimp-Faced. Yeah, so this is another dangling, just like they did with Coyote Mundi. All of that. Let me see what you guys are saying. Reading is hard. Too many words. Correct. I agree. They're begging Lucasfilm to finish Acolyte story like Cody Rhodes' WWE Championship. Yep. All right, you guys. So thank you so much. This is the end of it. Cringe Factor has now been served. And this is the state we're in right now. You know, so we had a little bit of Disney news with the cancellation of Acolyte, what's going on Twitter, all of that. Like I said, I don't give a rat's ass. Give me the salt. Give me the sea salt, the chunky sea salt, and let me just rub it in their wounds. I don't give a shit. And I don't care if they hear this or not. So fucking what? You never had compassion or remorse to what happened in the past with the EU being tossed and stuff. So why do I even care about your fucking show being canceled or whatever, not being continued? Let's just put it, not being continued, right? And then going into our cringe factor of them saying that one of the most pivotal scenes in Revenge of the Sith is now worthless because Acolyte's not being continued. Holy fucking shit. That is some BS right there. You're acting as if George wanted the Acolyte to tell the story. Who he wanted to tell the story and how he wanted to tell the story already fucking happened. The reason why maybe you feel it's incomplete because the EU was tossed, but then you can also keep things a mystery, just like Yoda's species origin. You can keep Plagueis a mystery. And I'd rather prefer that than that character be bastardized by your so-called creatives under Disney Lucasfilm. Keep him a mystery. His story doesn't need to be told. In fact, if they never told a story and I never got Darth Plagueis novel, I would have been fine with it still. You know, we already knew that, you know, from watching the show, watching the movie, that was basically Palpatine's master. But was it fun and was it interesting? And did it give more dynamics to the lore by giving us his story? Hell yeah, it did. Lucino did a fucking great job. Minus some of the TCW stuff that's in there. Right? So to say that now the story is incomplete for Revenge of the Sith is bullshit. Hey, Bunspook, how are you doing? Yeah, why worry about the Disney Plagueis, quote unquote, if we have James Lucino's amazing novel, plus one of the greatest pieces of literature ever written? Yeah, there you go. So that's my little rant right there. And so thank you guys again for tuning in. Next week, we will continue the Sith Alchemy going on with the War Beasts and the Jedi Code and stuff like that. And then we'll expand from there. And I can't wait till we get moving towards Darth Bane's Rule of Two. That's going to be fun because then you get to see the evolution of that and how Plagueis himself was trying to step away from it and how Palpatine called it out. So that's all there as well. So again, thank you guys so much. Tomorrow night is the spacing. Tonight is Casual Rage. So go over to those channels, set your reminders, and show up. I would love to see you guys in the chat with me and chilling and talking the latest news and pop culture, all of that. And thank you again for Soul Assassin for coming in and modding. Thank you guys again for sitting with me and chatting about Star Wars lore. That's the heart of this channel right here, And just discussing the Sith lore has been so much fun with you guys, and going through the book of Sith and expanding on, you know, all the details in there, and even the annotations of Luke, Sidious, Mace, Yoda, whoever's leaving the annotations in the book and their thoughts, gives you a really larger glimpse into the Star Wars universe. So thank you guys again, and see you guys next Thursday, and may the Force be with you. Have a good day.
Another happy landing.